Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, I'm saying morning because it's 11:48, so we got about 12 minutes before the noon hour. We have a unseasonably cool August the 25th here, Monday, 2025. There's the bird condo. So I worked from home this morning. I just got out of a meeting there, and we'll see if this takes there. Ava, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there. Look at these nice clouds here. We're by the Belton Stratford here. Yeah, that's what I call the bird condo. I never see any birds in there though, but yeah, we're in Lincoln Park here. We're south of Fullerton. This is going to be what I usually do, my commute to work in the morning. We're doing it here at lunchtime, so people will eventually file in here. Hopefully this is streaming here. There we go. We got some people joining in here. Hey, welcome to Chicago here. Yeah, we'll do my normal morning walk at lunchtime here. We'll head into the office, and then we're still doing TikTok in the mornings and evenings. I know it's confusing. I told everybody September we'll switch full time to streaming here on YouTube. There's the William Shakespeare statue. Usually we end our lives here. So in the evenings, here we'll go through the Lincoln Park Zoo. We'll go by the South Pond, places I usually walk on my commute to work, and then we'll go through the Gold Coast, Michigan Avenue. Nothing big, but be nice to get the full recording here on YouTube. Thanks to everybody that watched the House Music Festival on Saturday night. That was great. You can still watch the full rerun, and there's a full video before that where we went to the Taste of Greektown there. Diana, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there, Chris. My Aunt Diane's tuning in there. Yeah, I talked to Della, and maybe we'll get to see her, or well, you'll probably just hear her. I'll keep her off camera there. Hopefully we can see Bike to Drive. They're gonna have Bike to Drive up here in Chicago on Sunday morning. I'm looking for that. They shut down DuSable Lakeshore Drive for the bikes, and it's so nice because it's quiet. They don't have a big highway running by the lakefront there. You can hear the waves and stuff. Hope we're having these unseasonably cool weather here in the Midwest. Figure it's a good day to just walk by the flowers here. Yeah, see, the preschools are out, and they hold on to the rope there when they cross the street. It's so cute. They sing a song. Cleet, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks. Taco jalapeno salsa. That's my Aunt Diane tuning in there. I got many aunts. Oh, you saw Dad? Yeah, sorry I missed the close friend of ours, family friend of our family passed away, and I was talking to Della about it yesterday. I know it had to be an emotional day. Thanks for representing the family. I guess you and Della and my dad went there. We had a close friendly friend that we've known for years. Isn't it amazing how, you don't realize it? And thanks to you, I know you and Della went and visited her last week, and thanks for doing that. And I'm extend our condolences to the Collins family there, and all our friends and family there. And I'm sorry I missed it. I should have came into town for it. I know I missed probably Jeff and Mike, and I don't know if Doug was able to come up for it. I'm sure he was. And Senior and Junior and Ruthie and all our friends there, and Kevin. Our condolences to Kevin and Nikki and Kevy. Here's there, if you just joined, we're in Chicago here. We're at the fountain in Lincoln Park here. Yeah, hopefully Della and I will be walking by this on the weekend. My sister and my brother-in-law was coming into town Thursday night for the Oasis concert. My brother-in-law Matt is a huge fan of Oasis, and I really thank him for coming into town there with my sister. It'll be a whirlwind. They're just coming in for one night. A true jet set. They'll fly out the next morning. They got businesses. My sister's got to get back to her class there. But yeah, thanks, Diana. So hey, Isaiah, how you doing there? Good morning. Yeah, we almost the noon hour here, Cleet. It's hot in Dallas still. Yeah. But hey, look at these flowers. Yeah, look how beautiful. And that's why I'm so blessed and realize that people are like, why do you always, I understand I get the critique for filming from the north side, especially as the federal government sending the National Guard to patrol Chicago, and everybody wants to see where the crime and the blight and the horrible, you know, we get the same news as you. I know it's hard to watch the news sometimes of what goes on in these big cities, but as you see, here's dragonflies flying around. We'll walk through the zoo, life goes on, and a lot of it's just people taunting us. It's the big pecking order of society here. Here's Schiller statue here. So hey, let's walk to the zoo. The sun came out. It's so pleasant. I'm as a large mammal, I appreciate 68 degrees in August. Natural air conditioning here by Lake Michigan, and we'll walk through Lincoln Park Zoo. I won't be able to stop and check out the animals. We're heading through here as a means of transit, and when this used to be open in the mornings, I used to walk through here when they were, you know, the garbage was going through in the morning before it was open, but they don't open the gates until 10 a.m. to 5. It's a free zoo here, Lincoln Park Zoo. You can donate, you can be a friend to the zoo there. And yeah, the migratory birds have left. There was the herons used to nest there. It seems like they're gone. Yeah, they took down even the tent. There was a tent covering so people wouldn't get pooped on. Watch out. Here, we'll go by the seals here. And yeah, if you watch my reruns, sometimes we go behind here and check out the underwater viewing for the seals. I don't have time to do it today. I'm heading downtown trying to get to work by 1 o'clock here, so we got 11:54. Hey, there's a seal. There it is. There's a seal. How you doing there, seal? Sometimes, yeah, when I would walk through in the morning, they would be sleeping, and they would be kind of bobbing there with just their noses, and then they would smell me, and they'd look at me, and then they would roll over and go back underwater. Here's the seals here, and Lincoln Park Zoo, just hanging out there. There's one swimming under the. So this is a gray seal. There's gray seals and harbor seals. The gray seals are a little longer, especially with their snouts. How you doing? So here, we'll head through here. Hey, the lion, is the lion out? I can't tell if the lion's out. Yeah, the lion's laying on the rock there. So here, we'll show the lion. But here's the Kovler Seal Pool here, Lincoln Park Zoo, Chicago, Illinois. We got about 68 degrees. We got 11:55 in the AM. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, Philip, you want to babysit us? How patriarchal is that? You wouldn't like it if Biden would send federal troops, and I know LBJ did it in the 60s, so maybe this is payback. Here's the lion. See, people are just going to taunt us over politics. Isn't it how petty? And as we're looking at lions, you're going to politicize this lion, I know, because that's the nature we're in. We're in no holds barred politics, where it's the politics of grievance and stepping on your fellow American to get a leg up. This is where we're at here. I know that Americans always had a love-hate relationship with their cities, and we know there's multiple factors for that. But here, we'll head through the Lincoln Park Zoo. It's par for the course here. There's the lion house. Yeah, Taco, Michael. Yeah, what a beautiful day. You're not gonna cramp our style with politics. I know every once in a while I go on a political tirade. Please let me thank you. I realize my opinions don't represent people viewing here. I appreciate people got their own opinions that are different from mine. When have Americans ever agreed about anything? It's very hard running a channel in this very deeply divided political environment we find ourselves in. Here's the waterfall here, Lincoln Park Zoo. And by me just simply filming in Chicago. See, Chicago itself symbolizes the national divide, same as California. Our governors, if you're the governor of a blue state as opposed to a red state, it becomes this existential battle, just like what happened in Texas with the redrawing of the gerrymandering. I know the left does it, the right does it, so it's just making a mockery of all our politics. Thank you, Supreme Court, for making this possible for us to lose faith in our democracy. Thanks, Supreme Court, for Citizens United, for making us realize that money is, you vote with money. Look at the amount of waste that anybody running for any major party, you have to raise so much money. And who gets that money? Corporate America, TV stations, the same media that the current president despises, he had to pay them a bunch of money to get elected. Isn't that amazing? If you think about it, for all the advertisement and commercials and stuff. And so it becomes like a WWF. It's a bunch of fake posturing, and really, you know, they both need each other. Government needs the media needs the government. What else would they report on? But here's the flamingos. Welcome to, and these are just my opinions. I could be wrong. Here's the flamingos in the Lincoln Park Zoo. How's everybody doing here? Welcome to Chicago. Here we're just heading to work. I used to be able to walk by these flamingos year-round, even in the wintertime. Sometimes they would be out in the wintertime. It's great. Chilean flamingos. They had some chicks there. There's the prairie they like grow back there. Yeah, Stephanie, how you doing there? Yeah, wrestling. We turn politics into cage fighting match. It's the octagon. It's fake. It's all fake. And people realize, you know, you can, you know, Gavin Newsom's doing it right now. He's being the anti-hero to Trump. So it becomes like DC Comics. You got Superman and you got Lex Luthor. And Elon Musk was an ally, and then he became an enemy of the president. Now he's kind of like dropped out because he realizes, you know, you don't want to be at the center of the scrutiny, the eye of the storm there. It's probably Rosie O'Donnell moved to England. Hey, Madonna, here's Lincoln Park Zoo. Here's the magician. Yeah. So here we'll head through here. We'll go by the South Pond here. And we'll head out of here. Very nice. So here they got the snow cones over there. We'll head out the gate here, and we'll go down to the South Pond. But thanks for joining here on my walk to work here. We'll go by Cafe Briar. Yeah, we need a third party. I do respect people that are registered independent. You know, both parties. And I'm saying this, even though people know my aunt. I don't know, hopefully I didn't offend anybody talking about what I talked about already, but people that know me know I lean to the left. I'm kind of a hippie on social issues. I'm a bleeding heart liberal, which is considered a weakness, I know. And but even I fault the Democratic Party for many things, and of course I'm not a fan of the GOP, or certainly this iteration we got now with the red hats. And I respect people that are independent, that realize that. I wish we had more parties. I'm not talking about Elon Musk's party. I'm talking about a true independent party or third or fourth party. You know, it just, two choices is not enough. And I know it's just money's money. It's very hard to start a rival party because you can never raise enough money to rival the established entrenchment of the corporate America, the dominance they have over both parties. Both the Democrats and the Republicans are bought by special interest. You know, you could throw the unions in there as well. And I know the unions are now courted by both parties because Democrats thought they had it locked up and they don't really. And here's the South Pond. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube. How's everybody doing here? We got 12:01. This is usually when I start streaming here on the Lunch Bunch. Moving in September, we'll switch to streaming morning, noon, and night on YouTube. That way we got a nice recording. If you miss a live or if I go on vacation or something, you can watch the full reruns. And I won't have to spend so much time editing out the clips for reruns. And then the highlights we'll do shorts on YouTube, and then we'll transfer the interesting highlights to TikTok. I'm not leaving TikTok. I'm just curtailing my live streaming from there. And here's why the TikTok's changing the terms and conditions. Part of it, they say you're responsible for anything that happens on your live. So if somebody runs up and flips off my camera and I lose my account, I'm responsible and I have no legal recourse. So that's untenable for me. We've had people say the N-word trying to get me banned. They walk by, they see I'm live streaming, they'll come up and yell it into the camera. You know, it's just kids being kids. It's just people being stupid. They think it's funny. And, you know, I can't be responsible for what other people do when I'm walking down the street. Somebody comes up and punches me in the face. You know, maybe I deserve it, you know. Get Get that camera out of my face. But hey, we saw some good stuff this weekend. We saw the Taste of Greektown, that nice music there. I posted some reruns. We got shorts, and you can watch the full video there on YouTube. Same with the House Music Festival. Wasn't that nice? And that went on all weekend. That was a free festival. If you missed Lollapalooza, go to the House Music Festival. You can still dance and have a good time. And yeah, thank you. Thanks for the 67 degrees. Yeah, and that's the case. You know, all this talk about a mandate, that's kind of an exaggeration. We're used to the current president exaggerating whatever mandate or support he has. And, you know, the left didn't have as much support as they thought either to do the woke stuff and whatever. We saw all that. Turned out it was backlash to that. Whatever ideals or past injustices we were attempting to correct, it didn't work as intended. All this crazy talk about defunding the police was a horrible, in hindsight, a horrible strategy. And I didn't come up with that. You know, like me, I'm like, where does this stuff start and end? You know, here's the Peggy, or this is the Genie Gang Pavilion here, the Genie Gang Pavilion in Lincoln Park next to the South Pond. Yeah, so many people take wedding pictures and graduation pictures. They do yoga here. Matt, how you doing there, Michael? Yeah, India's got a third of the India's more populous than China now, and because we're on YouTube, the 1.3 or well over a billion people of India can have access to my content on YouTube, but you can't. TikTok is banned in India, correct? Am I correct? My friends watching from India, so that's a lot of the world's population that TikTok doesn't have access to. I really fully thought TikTok would be banned by now in America, but we see what's happening, so we'll adjust accordingly. That's the Beaver Lodge. So I haven't seen the beavers lately. I don't think Jennifer, you should eat, or anybody has seen the beavers lately. If you've seen any beaver sightings, let us know. And thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, why are people fighting in the comments here? You know, if you think any of these social media companies are free speech, read the terms and conditions. Free speech doesn't come with terms and conditions. This is corporate monetized speech. You know, and you pay a cell phone provider to even have access to the internet. So it's laughable that we think that we have to pay money to a internet company and acquiesce to the ever-changing terms and conditions of the social media companies that govern the limits of our free speech. The social media companies themselves ban words. My moderators are not doing it. The social media companies themselves are doing it. Me as somebody I don't have free speech. Do you think I'm trapped by, if I go on certain topics, or it's going to get worse? You know, that's why I'm leaving streaming on TikTok. I feel like TikTok's going to limit free speech even more. TikTok's going to do it. Not from China. It's coming from America. It's coming from America transition. And they just want to use it to sell you something. You know, it's they don't want people to think. They just want people to buy. It's a government of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations. And I'm not telling you anything that's not already known by people on the left and the right. Here's in the center. The vast center that's left out. I think most Americans are in the center. And the fringes on the left and the right pit us all against each other. So they divide and conquer. There's a turtle. There's a turtle in the South Pond there. That's a big turtle. Hey, the turtle sunning itself. They probably have to come out because it's kind of a cool day for a turtle. 67 degrees here. Yeah, I go to Old Town. We'll go through Old Town right now. Thanks for tuning in there. I think people are joking with me because I know, we were used to, people are like, go to the south side, west side. Check out my Bud Billiken Parade reruns there. I posted where Fred Hampton was murdered by the Chicago police. That's the true west side. Leader of the Black Panther Party in 1969. Heading towards East Garfield Park. We were west of the United Center. Yes, we go all over this city, but not today. I'm walking to work. We're going to try to ease into the Labor Day weekend here. And thanks for tuning in here. Good afternoon, Anita. How you doing there? Turn across the road to get to the Shell station. How you doing there, D. Michael? That's right. Yeah, wildlife. Isn't that great? You see that, James? James, there are, we counted at one time 4 beavers in that pond. This is Lincoln Park, Chicago. We're south of Lincoln Park Zoo. We're north of North Avenue. We're in the center of the city. And I've seen coyotes in this park, this far south. I've seen fox. I've seen 4 beavers, not at once. Jennifer You Should Eat saw them at once. I've only seen 2 at once. But there's bats. Nature finds a way. And here's the Garibaldi statue here. We got 1208. Yeah, I haven't seen it myself. If I encounter it, I'll film it and cut out the reruns. I saw some of my fellow Chicagoans on the south side. They saw the National Guard on the south side of Chicago, and that kind of went viral because people were looking for it. And it looked like the National Guard. It didn't look like the active duty military. See, what do people think? Okay, if the current president or any president, if Biden would have did this or Trump would have did this, use active duty military, what should be, okay, number one, the governors should control the National Guard. That's usually the separation of powers in our Constitution. If you believe in a constitutional republic, hopefully you believe in the Constitution and you realize there's a reason for the separation of powers. We don't want too much power in the executive branch. Congress is not doing their duty. Checking the executive power, in my opinion. But once the military is used, the military should be apolitical. If you like my father was drafted into the Vietnam War. If you're in the military, there's a reason the military goes to great lengths to stay apolitical. The Army doesn't endorse a political party, nor support the, and so I'm afraid of the military getting politicized, and you might be okay with that, but you wouldn't be okay with it if the other party was doing it. You see what I'm saying here? You got to understand. And we're talking about principles that are greater than, and yeah, we got crime in Chicago, but there's also crime in Memphis, St. Louis, and New Orleans, they have Republican governors, and we don't see those governors using the National Guard to patrol their own cities. So why is the federal government doing Chicago? It's because we're a sanctuary city. We understand it's to make a political point. It's to look good for TV. And sometimes things look good for TV, like the meeting with President Putin there with Trump, but it doesn't lead to anything changing. And the war still goes on, and there will still be crime. Trust me. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. We're heading to work here. We'll see how it goes. But hey, I'm glad people are paying attention. I'm glad you're paying attention. You don't turn on politics. Politics will turn on you. It's hard. I try to accept other people's opinions. Just don't make it personal. Don't take it out on my mods there. And we'll try not to take it out on you. It's all how you word things. You can make points in a polite way. You don't have to use slurs. And usually what people get behind, they made a political point, but they used a slur, or something, Yeah, look how large Lincoln Park is. It's larger than Central Park. We're only seeing a small portion. Remember when we went up to Montrose Beach? That's all part of Lincoln Park. That's the same park, even though it's 3 miles north of us. It has a golf course, a zoo, a driving range, many harbors, literally dozens of baseball fields, softball fields, basketball courts, tennis courts, nature preserves, museums. We got the History Museum. And this is just one of the park. We got Douglas Park on the west side, Garfield Park, Humboldt Park. We got Jackson Park on the south side, Midway Plaisance, Monsters of the Midway. We talk about that. Washington Park. We went there before the Bud Building. We went there on the Bud Building. We walked through it. And we're talking about Grant Park, where we were this Saturday. Millennium Park's downtown there. I'm leaving out a bunch. Marquette Park. So many great, huge parks in Chicago. McKinley Park. These are all parks, and a lot of them have neighborhoods that are named the same thing as the park. We've got forest preserves all throughout the suburbs. Here's Benjamin Franklin. Yeah, Sheridan, how you doing there? Thanks for the time attempt there. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there, James. Yeah, it's kind of strange. There's other ways to do it. But here, this is underneath LaSalle Street. I'll kind of go quiet here because there's people camping out here. And this is in Lincoln Park, Chicago. Heading to work here. Hey, look at the skylight. Hey, we're over by the History Museum here. There's the couch tomb. People often talk about how this portion of Lincoln Park was a cemetery, which was true. Yeah, look at these clouds. Look at this beautiful blue skies we got here. Gentle breeze. What a cool day here, weather-wise. To me, I find it refreshing. People keep asking me if it's cold. Yeah, I live in Chicago. I've lived in Chicago for 26 years. I'm not a native Chicagoan. I moved here in 1999. I grew up in the country of Indiana. I'm going back to the country of Indiana to visit my father at the beginning of September there to celebrate his birthday. So that'll be when we make the switch from, you notice this morning I still stream from TikTok, but we'll start streaming full time from YouTube. It solves a lot of problems for me. I'm doing it because it's convenient for me. I was always worried about making the clean break from TikTok, and I'll still have a presence on TikTok. I'll still post reruns there. I still reserve the right to go live there. It's just the advantages that YouTube is I can film marijuana dispensaries that I can't, not that I want to promote it. You live in a state where it's legal, just like bars, you encounter them everywhere. And I get tired of turning the camera and just not showing things that are legal and exist in the world. Talking about censorship and how TikTok's not free speech. I've got accounts banned for simply mentioning the name of legal business establishments in Illinois, not even promoting it. And of course I can't prove it in court. But here's the Lincoln statue. Here's the Lincoln statue in Lincoln Park. There's the standing Lincoln. And this is here north where Dearborn Street ends into Lincoln Park. There's the History Museum there. And yeah, there's not too many people out there. Some people say it's the middle of the day on a Monday. We'll see probably more people once we get to Michigan Avenue here. We got 12:15. There's a squirrel. I personally like the fact that Chicago's less crowded than New York City. And positive, negatives, everything. Yeah, Saturday, Sunday. Watch my reruns. Yeah, from the river. We were at the Riverwalk twice. Both on the first video where I went to Greektown and went to West Loop, and then we ended up at the Riverwalk. That's where we saw the people doing the exercise class on the boat there with the cycling spin class on the boat there. And look how many people were on the Riverwalk. Look how crowded Michigan Avenue was Saturday night around the House Music Festival, and how many people were at the House Music Festival. And it was great to see that. But yeah, it's the middle of the day on a Monday here. See, school's back, I guess. And here we'll head through the Gold Coast. So we missed Old Town. We'll probably go through Old Town tonight. We'll probably on TikTok, we'll cruise by the Ducks there in Old Town. So I'll just head down Dearborn here. We saw Fred last week, and that was on TikTok. We saw Fred in the morning there. He works, or he's always here by the Houghton, but he's semi-retired there, so I haven't been seeing him as often, which is great. Hopefully he's enjoying his semi-retirement there. Here's North Avenue, North and Dearborn here. The Latin School is right there, private school. Here's the Constellation. The architect's name was Schwartzman. And there's the 1550 State. North Dearborn Association. Put it in the rock right there. Please keep off the grass. Oh, okay. Yeah, does anybody know if the Chicago Med or Fire or the PD are filming anywhere? So every once in a while we run across a filming location. If people give me, there are websites that kind of list where if we encounter, sometimes we'll see them filming at a certain area. One time we went by that fire station on Blue Island there between Pilsen and Little Italy, and they were filming there, and I was coming back from Sox Park in Bridgeport, and we walked up there, and they were filming, and then they had like the fake statue out there, and they were like yelling. I was in the shot. They were like they were telling me to get out of the shot. They were actually filming, and I posted that rerun there. That was from like a year or so ago. But here we're on Dearborn Street here. Here, let's cross the street here. Let's show the beautiful housing here with the curved staircases here. The landscaping's so nice. Here's the Latin School, and here Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. Yeah, Lambie T, how you doing there? Lived in New York City for 13 years. That's good. Yeah, it's different. We're different cities. Chicago and New York certainly have a different vibe. And Chicago's not trying to be New York. New York certainly doesn't want to be Chicago. Doesn't even think about Chicago. We're like flyover country, like the rest of the country. Here's the curved staircases here. Look at these beautiful housing here. See, look, it's 4 flat. You got 2 below, 2 above. They got the 2 townhomes above. You got see, this has been on the market. One of these has been on the market for a while. Yeah, I love this curved staircase. They got the nice landscaping. I call this Better Homes and Gardens. You get ideas for how to do a lot with a little space here. And look at the beautiful Italianate windows, the curved staircases. You got the little urns there. 1516 North Dearborn, just like a postcard here. And look at all this beautiful housing here and landscaping. Here's the Houghton here. Here's where we usually see Fred here, this nice multi-family residence here. And then across the way, that Prime truck's blocking it here. You got all these beautiful Richardsonian Romanesque, all this beautiful architecture here on Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. But there are apartments you can rent here. You don't have to be a millionaire to live here. You just have to pay high rent, which is what I do in Lincoln Park. Here's the giraffe. Hey, there's the giraffe there. It's got earrings. It says Chi-Town. The earrings say Chi-Town on the giraffe there. Did you see that? Yeah. Lisa Lisa's tuning in. Patricia. Oh, that's good. Okay, Chicago PD will be filming at 401 North Michigan Avenue between 12 and 10. Let's see. Let's read that there. Hold on. 401 North Mid, 12 and 10, 12 to August 25th. Well, hey, thanks for the good info. So 401 North Michigan. That's right. Let's see, 205 North. That's right by the river. That's right by the Wrigley and the Tribune and Wacker Drive. So we'll walk right through there. We'll see if they're setting up. And then this evening, we're going to walk right through. Thanks for the great information, Lisa. And yeah, thanks for looking that up. Great mods there, feeding me information there. Yeah, Lisa's, you back to school there? You guys back in session? I guess it's summer's over. There. Dude, better do your homework. Gotta go to work. What a bummer. Now, even though it's only 67 to 68 degrees, I feel like it's 80 degrees. Why? I guess I must be out of shape here. I get heated just in 67 degree weather. People are still wearing shorts though. Here, we'll go by St. Christodom's here. Yeah, 2 monitors help out. That's good. Thanks for doing that. Yeah, you could put up. You could do research. You could do research there. So I grew up in Southeast Indiana. I moved to Chicago in 1999. So I've lived in Chicago over half my life. I'm still a country boy at heart. But I love the city. I love living in the city. You saw examples of why I like living in the city this weekend. On Saturday, we just went over to the Taste of Greektown. Nice cultural events, free cultural events. We go to all that stuff. And all over the city. And we got the House Music Festival. It was a free festival in Millennium Park. We saw legendary Chicago house DJs. And people were having a good time. And it was so funny, like, my mind's, it's such a disconnect. Here we are. I was having a great time. I wasn't even looking at the comments because I'm trying to look at what I'm filming. We saw the father and son dancing. We saw all the crazy dance moves and people out on the lawn there. Such great vibes, such positive vibes. And then people are all angry in the comments, and we're trying to figure out what makes them so angry, seeing people have such a good time. And I just think some people don't know how to have a good time, and they see other people having a good time and it makes them angry. And that's a shame, because we want, like I say, you know, just enjoy it. If you don't, change the channel. They'll sit there and just like, I don't know, I think they were looking for the National Guard to shut down the party or something. Maybe that's what was going on. Hey, welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Dearborn Street, the Gold Coast, Chicago. We'll cross the street so we can show you the Hemingway house and the keyhole windows. We went by that on Dayton Street. It must have been last week. Yeah, we went by one of those buildings on Dayton Street. The residential building has the round windows as well, the keyhole windows. And I know we walk by it all the time, but it's beautiful. So we'll do it again. Yeah, I think that's what it was. You know, and maybe, you know, maybe to the teenage boys, house music is like, jazz. It's like too old. It's like they're not into it because it's not video game music, I guess. But you know, see, here I'm an old guy. You know, I'm noticing the gender gap, or not the gender. Oh, there's a gender gap. What do they call that? The generation gap. The generation gap. That's what I was trying to say. Here's yeah, look at these beautiful buildings on Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. And that's why we walk through here. It's free to walk down the street. I know this is multi-million-dollar unattainable housing for, unless you're the 1%. But see how the other half lives here. See, this is actually, each one of those levels is an apartment. That's how that was built. We saw it on the Dearborn Garden. There's actually a guard apartment, so there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is this Moorish Revival building, the keyhole windows here. 1325 North Dearborn Street, Gold Coast, Chicago. Dearborn just north of, between Goethe and Schiller. And see across the way, all this vintage Gilded Age housing. Yeah, the fence. Yeah, you got many beautiful brownstone buildings in New York City. All over, not just in Manhattan. You get Park Slope in Brooklyn and Astoria, Queens. They got all these amazing neighborhoods all throughout New York City. New York City's so vast, same as Chicago. You don't realize how large this city is from one side to the other. And there's the 3 Arts Club. Now it's the RH Furniture. It used to be like a barbizon for, it was a finishing school for women to learn the 3 arts there, and so they could be respectable women living in the city there, where they were debutantes waiting to make their marriage business matches for high society there. Here's yeah, here we're at Goethe and Dearborn here. We'll go by Mario's Stable here. But plenty of condos, plenty of big apartment buildings, nice restaurants. We'll go down Rush Street. We'll cut over there. Yeah, I'm looking for the National Guard too. I as of yet, well, okay, you understand, I live in Lincoln Park. So, you know, I want to see if anybody on the left or the right, do you think they're sending the National Guard to Lincoln Park, or are they going to send it to Inglewood, you know, Grand Crossings, Garfield Park? You know, I was defending a nice fellow Chicagoan. She was posted a video of Streeterville, and she goes, why do they need to send the National Guard here? And the people are like, you know, people are all over her because, you know, they were like, because you're a privileged woman that lives in the wealthy areas of Chicago, and I don't want to be accused of that either, you know. Here's where Ernest Hemingway lived, on the top floor here. See, there's a plaque there. It says Ernest Hemingway. They had a sign here. We got to go inside here on the garden walk. Ernest Hemingway with his first wife, Hadley Richardson. They lived here before they went to Europe in Chicago. And that's why there's a mural of Ernest Hemingway on the side of the Jewel Osco block or two over here on Clark Street, where the Jewel Osco is there, next to James Baldwin and Upton St. Clair and Betty Smith and Ayn Rand, all these writers, the Carl Sandburg Village. Here, we'll head through here. So yeah, does some other people saw him? They saw him hanging out in the tourist areas. Yeah, we'll see if we see him downtown. If we counter any downtown, you know, I was there on Saturday. I didn't see anything Saturday. The first time somebody saw him was on Sunday, and that was on the south side of Chicago. They saw some National Guard Humvees rolling down Cottage Grove or something. Yeah, I haven't seen him anywhere. Believe me, I'll be sure to film it if I see them anywhere, both on the street or driving around. So we're over by Division and Dearborn. We're gonna kind of walk out of the Gold Coast area, and we're gonna go into River North here. We're heading to work here. We got 12:30. We're halfway to work here, over halfway, Dearborn and Division. Thanks for tuning in here. This is what I usually do in the morning here. We're just walking to work here. Chatal, how you doing there? Oh, look at the cat there. So here we'll go past Mother's, we'll go past Bush McGuire's, these classic touristy bars. You go to the piano bar here, Mother's, you go down the stairs, Bush McGuire's. A lot of people met their wife, spouses here. Hey, look at that sitting there. You can sit right here on the edge of the sidewalk. It's great. Here's the lodge. Hop Smith. How you doing? See, this is nice. You could sit right out here on the sidewalk and have your drink and lunch there. Shenanigans behind me, Hop Smith, the lodge. Here's some of the clubs. We walked by this new club, and it was like 7 in the morning on a Monday. There were people waiting in line to get in there. 7 a.m. to go to a club. It's amazing. That's hardcore. So James, why are you bringing race into something that doesn't necessarily need to have race brought into it? I don't understand that, but that's your prerogative there. You know, I was at the House Music Festival. There was people of all races and all ethnicities and all genders and all sexual orientations getting along, dancing, having a good time. I don't buy into this narrative that it's inevitable. I think some people are trying to force what you're talking about to prove their point. And not everybody wants that. And it's not inevitable. Stop acting like it is. That's my opinion. But notice how I accept viewpoints different than my own. I just don't understand them, and you don't understand mine. I don't expect you to understand my viewpoint. I'm not trying to influence or convince anybody of anything. I'm just walking to work here. And it shows you how political cities are, because everybody has a different idea about how they should be run and what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And you should try being a mayor for a month there, see how hard it is. I wouldn't want to be mayor of this city. It's almost impossible. Same with New York City or LA. Big cities are very hard to govern. Yeah, we passed some homeless people underneath LaSalle Street earlier. I didn't like choose to. I kind of filmed the other way because they were kind of sitting outside their tent there. I didn't want them to be like, "Dude, why are you filming me, you evil live streamer?" There were a lot of homeless. Now listen to what I'm saying here. We used to often encounter larger, even in the wintertime, larger tent encampments under the metro tracks when we would go to the West Loop. They cleared them all out when the DNC was going on, and part of it was for the DNC, part of it was because the Supreme Court ruled that cities can evict people from the sidewalks, which of course LA and California cities weren't able to do that, and that's why there were so many people camping on the sidewalks in LA and Oregon and Seattle and Denver. And even Florida, even red states like Florida have a huge homeless population, which you have to acknowledge that. I think Florida has a worse homeless population than Chicago because of our climate. And it's people do. Here's Lou Malnati's Chicago style pizza. every once in a while I'll see a homeless person begging at one of these restaurants. Well, they'll go from table to table, and that's hard to see too. And there you are, the tourist is there. That's their Chicago experience. They get solicited while they're having their steak there, and some ragged person's threatening them. It actually sometimes leads to, you know, confrontations. This is the big bad city. You know, you got to keep your guard up, your street smarts at all time, even in the middle of the day. And it's not for everybody. I'm not trying to get anybody to move here, live here, take a vacation here, spend a dime here. Stay away if you don't like it. You know, it's fine with me. Just watch it virtually. You can see what you're not missing here. Here's some corn. Hey, we got some corn. Mariano Park here. Yeah, so it's set through Mariano Park here. We got the housing. Well, why isn't there a bunch of homeless people camped out in Mar-a-Lago? You know, have you been to West Palm Beach? There's homeless people in West Palm Beach. They're mainly on the West Palm side, not the Palm Beach side. They keep them out of Palm Beach too. That's where Mar-a-Lago is. And here, we'll head through Mariano Park here. Look how nice it looks here. They got the fountains here. Yeah, look at that, Mariano Park. Whispers. You can put your feet up here, read a book. Yeah, here's your friends here. They got little frozen treats for your dogs. They call it doggy licks. And then they have a gelato. They'll open that up. There's your Porsche parked in front of Bellevue. Tavern Rush. Carmine still has yet to open. Thought it'd be open by now. I guess they're waiting for holidays. So here's Gibson's. Tavern Rush. How you doing? So here, we'll head through here, Gibson's. And yeah, Frank Sinatra, way here. Chicago, Illinois, Rush Street, Biker Triangle. Hey, there's the ballet. They got the nice London booths there, the old phone booths. Yeah, Texas still has the hot weather. The best restaurant. So, people in the comments, what's your favorite restaurant in Chicago? I'll let people in the comments. And I don't know if I have a favorite restaurant or not. I like a lot of restaurants, but I'm not like Oprah. I don't have like favorite things. My favorite things are constantly shifting and changing too fast to rank things. I'm not like Condé Nast. Even when they do like city rankings, I always question them. You know, it's so subjective. You know, steak's pretty good at Gibson's. I haven't eaten there in a long time because I honestly can't afford it. It's pretty expensive, but you can ask. There's some other Chicago influencers that I've seen them eat their Gibson's. You can ask the local food critics. And here, let's cross here. So here's I'm not the best foodie, and you know, different streamers are better. You can follow Ed Ray or even Lucky Chucky, or to follow Keys Impact. What real Chicago food looks and tastes like. He's a better authority than I am. College watch Keys Impact there. I saw Nia Azel. She was streaming along Michigan Avenue this weekend. Of course, Ernie covered the fireworks. And here we'll head down Rush Street here. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Burkhoff's got us in the baker. Lou Malnati's. Thanks, Pizza Lisa. Labriola. That's good. Embarrassed about the heat. Mojave Desert barbecue. Yeah, get some good Chicago barbecue. You can go to the Twin Anchors, or you can go to Harold's Chicken. Get some Harold's Chicken. You can go to Johnny's if you want Italian beef in Elmwood Park, but that's the suburbs. But it's near enough to Chicago. It's just north of Oak Park there on the west side. But I guess you're probably looking for high-end dining. You know, there's all like those Charlie Trotters. I don't know if the team is still there. There's the here, I'll cross the street here because I don't want to talk to this charity person. There's charity people are everywhere. They're being converged on here. They have all these signs, no soliciting unless you work for a corporation and you're trying to beg for some charity endowment. So here we'll go down. They're selling off the streets to the highest bidder. There'll be advertisements all over the sidewalks. The best hot dog place. Yeah, unfortunately, even though I've lived in Chicago for 26 years, and Chicago is known for hot dogs. We go to Byron's, like if I'm going, like my friend, everybody gets me into Wrigley Field, we go up to Byron's on Irving Park there. That's a nice Chicago-style hot dog place. You know, people talk about Portillo's, but Portillo's is a chain. It's mainly from Villa Park, the suburbs. They're all over the suburbs and other cities. There's only 2 locations downtown that I know of Portillo's. But you go to the Wiener Circle. Go to the Wiener Circle, ask for a chocolate cake, ask for a chocolate shake. But here we'll get some nice views of there's the John Hancock, 100 stories tall, 875 North Michigan. We're at Delaware, and where Wabash breaks off of Rush Street. We'll walk, we'll show you the view looking down Wabash to you can see the back of the Trump Tower, and then we'll go through Connors Park here, and then we'll get another view of the John Hancock. And this is River North area, Chicago, Rush Street. And we're heading to work here. Little Louie's in Northbrook, there you go. There's some good, yeah, thanks for the good, Gene and Jude's. Yeah, Gene and Jude's, those are some good places there. Thanks for helping out Zach there. Zach, you paying attention to those? Write those down. There's some good hot dog joints there in Chicago. Good recommendations. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for helping out. See, it's better when people say in the comments, so it's not like I'm trying to influence anybody. We're just we're learning from each other, and that's what it is. Yes. What do you stay away from? Well, I don't know what you mean by that statement. I don't necessarily agree with that. Why would you say something like that? I mean, it just implies bias. I mean, why are you proud of that? You know, I just don't understand that. Maybe you're for Palestine. I understand that. I'm for Palestine. I'm worried about the genocide, starvation of kids. I'm worried about us treating leaders like Netanyahu and Putin like roll out the red carpet and treat like they're nice people when they're not. And you know, that's the way the world is. I know. You always have to deal with dictators. There's the John Hancock. This is the seminary. So here we'll go by the Lamborghini Gold Coast. Here's the seminary. Look how beautiful this is. See how you can see the John Hancock on Michigan Avenue. And this is the Quigley Center Seminary on Rush Street near Loyola here. I think we're down by Pearson here. Here's Rolls Royce. Lamborghini Gold Coast. Look at that beautiful round window. Look at all the statues up there. They got like a courtyard there like it's an abbey. Here, Lamborghini Gold Coast. Maserati. There's Loyola. There's the Park Hyatt with the housing above it. We'll go right by. We'll go by the water tower here. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. We're heading to work here with Rush and Pearson. The Archbishop Quigley Center here. That's Rush Street. That's the Waldorf Astoria housing above. 835 North Rush Street here. National Register of Historic Places. Loyola owns this beautiful building. Loyola University has downtown campus here. Yeah, thanks for checking us out here. It's a big bad city here. Yeah, Sister Jean, Loyola University, you got it, the Ramblers, yeah. Sister Jean's like 105, right? She's like 103, 105, something like that. They got her dunking the basketball in the wheelchair. Here, let's cross the street here. We'll show you this beautiful door. Loyola University, Lewis Towers. They call this Lewis Towers, 111 East Pearson. Look at that door there. Look at that beautiful entry. Loyola University. 106, Sister Jean. That gives us all hope. We, excuse me, we saw the Michael Jackson impersonator with Elvis there. When was that? Last week or the week before? And there was an 83-year-old man. He was dancing with Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. They were doing ABC 1, 2, 3, and he was doing all the moves just like he probably did in the 60s or 70s. That song came out in 1970. Do you know the Jackson 5 ABC 123 replaced the Beatles' Let It Be on the #1 charts. So that's why Michael Jackson has such an affinity for the Beatles, because the Jackson 5 knocked the Beatles as they were breaking up. They knocked them off the #1 chart. Isn't that amazing? From the last album that the Beatles made or released after they were already broken up. Here's the water tower, the Great Water Tower, Chicago. Probably the 1871 Great Chicago Fire, built about 1869. And the reason it looks like that, there was a big standpipe that used to filter water. They dug a tunnel 2 miles out into the lake to filter the water, because the Chicago River and all the offal from the Chicago stockyards used to wash into the lake. They thought by going further out they would get cleaner water, but even then they had to go to greater lengths. They had to reverse the Chicago River to send the sewage down the Mississippi to St. Louis and New Orleans, and St. Louis returned the favor by shipping it back to us in the form of Budweiser beer. So there you go. There's your beer advertisement for the day. That's why I used to drink Miller. Came from Wisconsin. Here's old style, old stale. So here we're at Chicago. We're at the Michigan Avenue. Thanks for staying on here. 300 people. We got 300 people tuning in here on YouTube. Thanks to everybody. Thanks my mods and everybody on the Lunch Bunch. You're the ones that made this possible, that we could finally make this transition, and we'll fully make the transition to streaming and YouTube starting in September, once they roll out the new terms and conditions here. Ralph's Coffee, Ralph Lauren here. Here's the Tip Top Tap. And here, we'll head down the street here. Hey, how you doing? Mango. He was trying to get on camera there. Hey, there we go. So here, Michigan Avenue. Chicago office movers. Moving the office. Yeah, they got this nice display. I think this our sister city's Osaka, Japan there, and so they help out with this display. Michigan Avenue down by Superior here. So there's more people on Michigan Avenue. See, it's more crowded here. Typical for a Monday lunchtime here. Yeah, let's see if they're filming anything for Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med. Lisa came up with the good information there, 400 North Michigan. And we'll see if they're setting up. And we'll get out of work at 5 tonight. If they're still filming there at 5 tonight, we'll be able to tell pretty quickly on TikTok here. Over on YouTube now. Hey, there's the tour bus from the Peninsula. Last year we saw the soccer team. There was a big crowd gathered because the soccer team was staying at the Peninsula. Here we'll get the One Chicago Tower here. Saks Fifth Avenue. Yeah, we'll go by the Harry Potter store here. Yeah, it's all expensive. Welcome to the expensive city here. But we're not as expensive as New York. We're not as expensive as London. We're not expensive as Hong Kong or Tokyo or Dubai. Have you been to Dubai? There's more wealthy people in Dubai than New York City. Most of the wealth is concentrated in the Middle East, and it's not distributed equally. We've got kings and princes and everybody related to the prince, which is a lot of people. Hey, welcome to Chicago, Huron in Michigan. Yeah. See, Americans, we thought we were wealthy, and then we went through the Great Depression. My grandparents went through the Great Depression on both sides, and it changes your outlook on what America is. So here's the Harry Potter store. Here's the Harry Potter store on Michigan Avenue. So we got a Harry Potter store in London. We got a Harry Potter store in New York City, and there's the one in Chicago. We've got reruns where we go inside. I got to get to work. There's the Patronus Stag there, the Harry Potter's spirit animal. You go inside, get your magic wands, get your butter beer. They got the flying books, and they got all kinds of swag and everything. You got the nice displays. You get your back to school sweater there. Hey, they're putting a new store here, so we'll see what goes into 670 here. They're changing the stores. There's Nike Town, Converse store, H&M. Yeah, that's the one positive, consistent comment we get is the Chicago streets are cleaner than most other major American U.S. cities, which is good. The one thing the city can do, it does clean up graffiti better than other cities, and it does clean the streets and sidewalks better than other cities. So it's the one thing I wish they could do the crime as well too. I know it's hard. Here's the Reserve Roastery, but it's kind of like the broken windows theory too. You keep the streets clean, you know, everybody will wash their face. Here's Starbucks, giant Starbucks here on Michigan Avenue here, Starbucks Reserve. We just crossed Erie and Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois here. How's everybody doing here? 341, thanks. See, look, here we can zoom in and see the crowds of Michigan Avenue. Maybe people are tuning in to see the Chicago Fire, Chicago PD filming. See if we can catch it. I don't know, they're just starting here. And yeah, we're by Ontario and Michigan, heading south. We're heading towards the river. We got 12:48. This is perfect. I'll get to work just after 1 o'clock. We got about another 15 minutes until across the river there. So hey, we'll stay on this side. We'll wait for the left turns here. Hey, look at that nice mural with the push-up pops there. So the Grand Lux is gone. We were able to film in there before it closed down. Remember, some people remember the Grand Lux Cafe. There's the balcony hanging off the RAU hotel. There's a glass bottom balcony if you ever stay in that hotel. I think Pizza Lisa stayed there or knows more about it than I do. Here's the last cars making the left turns here. It's always that last car. Watch, even this one will go. Even the police will go. Watch, the police will go too. Yeah. There's where the temporary casino is. Oh no, see, look. Racing to get to something. There's the real Chicago PD. That's when we see the real fire engines go by, and so there's the real Chicago FD. Real Chicago Fire. There's looking south on Michigan Avenue here. Yeah, thanks for it. If you like this content, hit the thumbs up button. It allows more people to see this guy. It's free. Just double tap the screen there. Hit the like button there, and thanks everybody here. Hey, the sun's back out. What a beautiful day. Upper 60s. And the bad puns. Hey, people tuning in from India. That is great. That's why I like streaming on YouTube. We have access to the over 1 billion, 1.3 billion people in India that don't have access to TikTok. And so we need to figure out which side of the street we need to be on here. So I'll stay here because then we can film the beautiful here. They're crossing anyway here. There's no traffic coming. So we can cross here at Ohio Street. And we'll head down towards the Chicago River here. We'll go by the Nordstrom Mall, Marriott. We just crossed Ohio Street at Michigan. And this is where Michigan Avenue starts to become a causeway. You get to lower level. I reposted that video where I go to lower Michigan. The one that my first video that went viral. And it came up on the reruns from 2 years ago. And I even remade it from my original account. I had to remake it and it went viral twice. It was so funny. I doubt it'll go viral now because I'm in the creator fund and they're not going to pay me for 2 million views. There's no way. I didn't make any money off of it the first time because usually when you got a video that goes viral, it's because you're not monetized yet, and that's why it goes viral, because they make money off of it by selling advertising to it, but they don't make sure we can't make any money off of it. Here's the Intercontinental Hotel, the Tribune. These beautiful vintage skyscrapers here in Chicago. There's Grand Avenue. Grand Avenue is going underneath us right now. It goes underneath this lobby where the Glen Hotel, the Nordstrom Mall. But here's used to be the Medina Athletic Association. Now it's the Intercontinental Hotel. There's a pool on the 17th floor. If you ever stay in that hotel, please check out the pool. It's like a Great Gatsby Gilded Age pool. It's beautiful. And they built that in 1929. They didn't think they could put a pool on the 17th floor in 1929. And it has a deep end too. It's a lot of weight. They still don't know how, because the Chicago Athletic Association had a pool, but they put theirs on the ground floor, which makes more sense. But here, Michigan Avenue, Tribune, there's the lower levels. You can see the real grounds down there. We're above the ground. So yeah, that's why you go down in these and watch my rerun there. We show you how you go down, what it looks like underneath there. Just check it out there. But here, let's see if they're filming for Chicago Fire. We'll see if we have to cross the street or which side of the street they're filming here. 400. So we're, what address are we at here? I can't find an address here. There, 444. So we're 444 North Michigan. So right around here, they should be possibly filming for Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Met. Sometimes they film together for all three of those things. And they might be using the lower levels of Michigan Avenue too. So we'll figure it out before the day's over. Hey, there you go. This is live streaming. I saw the New York streamers do this, and I say, hey, we could do this in Chicago. Usually I just do my walk to work. We do see the cultural stuff, like we saw the Chicago House Music Festival. We saw the Taste of Greektown. We did the Bud Billiken. We did Fiesta del Sol. We did Lollapalooza. All kinds of stuff here. But here we're by the Wrigley Building, Lou Malnati's. So they're taking down the flags here. So I'm just curious here. So I see police horses. There's some police horses. So here, let's go check out these police horses. I just missed the light, and so I'm just curious if they're filming below. They might be filming below. So let's go down. I'll show you Billy Goats. See, we're right across the Tribune here. Look how the sun hits the Intercontinental Hotel. We're going to go down to where Billy Goats is. I'm just seeing if they're filming for Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Med down here. We'll cross the street. We'll pop out right over there, and then I want to film those police on the horses there. At least we got some. That'll be some nice footage there. So here I can smell it. I can smell the cheeseburger. There's the Billy Goats, world famous Billy Goats Tavern here, Hubbard Street, 400 block of Lower Michigan Avenue. Billy Goats Tavern there. They put the curse on the Cubs. So this is Hubbard Street. We'll cross over to the stairs there. So I don't see them filming down here. Look at this. How the graffiti's covering this van here. That's kind of interesting. That's like a New York van. But here, we'll cross the street here. But there is a police car there. Let's see. Let's see if we can cross here. I'm trying to cross before the car keeps moving up here. So here, Lower Wacker Drive. The car's about to move here. Here's a real Chicago police officer, but I don't think this has anything to do with the show here. So maybe they haven't set it up yet. But hey, we saw Billy Goats. We crossed the street here. Lower Michigan Avenue. What time we got? 12:56. There's a nice view of Billy Goats. So we'll pop up right on Michigan Avenue. I can smell the cheeseburgers. I wish you could smell them through the phone here. There it is. Tribune, Michigan Avenue. See, we're here. We crossed the other side here. So let's check out these mounted policemen here. Yeah, you're right. They just did it for artistic purposes, probably. There's the Wrigley Building, Michigan Avenue. There's the Apple Store. Yeah, let's check out these horses here. So maybe they were going to be filming for Chicago PD, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire later today. We'll see. I'll get out of work after 5 o'clock on TikTok, and we'll give it a try. But I want to film these police horses here. Mounted Chicago police here. They usually patrol. Sometimes you see them along the lake, through the parks, or downtown here. They'll be riding in the horses here. Yeah. Beautiful. How you doing there? Hey, the dog likes it. How you doing there? How you doing there? Yeah, what do you think? What do you think of those horses, dog? That's great. Yeah, Chicago police horses by the Tribune here. Look at that beautiful view. right across from the Wrigley building. Look how the sun hits that building. The clockworks, Chicago skyline here, the Wrigley building, the Trump Tower, Michigan Avenue, Tribune, police horses. We'll cross the Chicago River. Thanks for tuning in here. I hope you had a good stream here. Thanks for watching me on YouTube. I'm making the transition. I'll be starting in September. I'll be streaming much more often on YouTube. I'll still post reruns on TikTok. I'm not getting rid of my presence there. I don't like their terms and conditions, and we as consumers, we can accept, there's competing companies. We don't have to accept terms and conditions every time they change them. Here's the Chicago River. There's the Trump Tower. There's the Wrigley building. There's the London House, Mather Tower. We just missed the Jewelers building, but I'll get you another view of it once we cross here. Here comes Linnea. Look at that beautiful scene there. Chicago Riverwalk. Sable Michigan Avenue Bridge here. So later this week, probably Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll be back downtown. Thursday, I'll probably work from home. Got family coming in town. We're going to try out that Oasis concert. And then I got other family coming into town for Labor Day. Looking forward to Sunday. There should be Bike the Drive. They shut down Glacier Drive for the bikes. And that's a nice thing to film there. See, we got nice weather for it. Here we're at Wacker Drive, the historic location of Fort Dearborn. Yeah, thanks Taco, thanks for pinning that. Yeah, we'll still do TikTok this week because I'm letting people know on TikTok to cancel their subscriptions if they subscribe to me for live streaming, and you know, watch me on YouTube, because I don't want anybody to be hurt that I didn't let them know. Here's Linnea. And I'm gonna lose some of my subscribers. You know, it shows you I'm not doing this to get rich, because I'm not getting rich doing it. It would be nice, but here's Wacker, Michigan. There's the Marina Towers, Trump Tower. There's South Michigan Avenue. So yeah, we'll be back on TikTok after 5 tonight, and then September won't be as confusing. I'll be probably streaming just exclusively on YouTube, but we'll still post reruns on other platforms. There's the Jewelers building. There's the top of the Jewelers building, that dome. The Stratosphere Club used to be up there. People erroneously thought Al Capone had a speakeasy up there. That wasn't true. But the Jewelers used to drive their cars in those buildings. It was more secure. I'm sure the mobsters would want to do it too. Here's the Blackhawk store. We passed Fannie Mae here, Michigan Avenue. So if you keep going south, you get to Millennium Park. Usually we do that at lunch, but we walked from home today, so. Yeah, look at the amazing density of the loop here, Michigan Avenue. And first time, that's good. Well, hey, I regret sometimes that I don't want to say it wasted. We built up a great audience on TikTok. I feel like, you know, and then we went through all those bans where we thought TikTok was going to be banned. I was fully prepared to go to YouTube for that. And then now they're changing their terms and conditions, and that's what's finally getting me to change. And they're driving me away. You know, you think they would reach out to us, as, you know, since we're successful content creators on their platform, you think they would care if we left their platform. They seem not to care. So we'll leave and go to YouTube. See if YouTube cares. Here's South Water Street. So hey, how you doing? So here, we'll cross here. There's the Trumpeter. There's the Trumpeter here, Michigan Avenue. We've been seeing him a lot. You can get the Wacker Drive that way, Michigan Avenue. But hey, thanks mods, thanks team here. I'm gonna head to work. Yeah. Wonderful Trumpeter here. Cool jazz on a cool day here. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the gifts, likes, and follows. Thanks to my mods there. Thanks for watching me on YouTube. And we'll see you on TikTok after 5 tonight. And then September, we'll be streaming exclusively in YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great rest of your day there. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Just read them yourself. Read the terms and conditions and see if you would agree to them. Talk to you later.